The first question is, who are you and what do you do?
So my name is Marianne Calvanese. I'm a naturopathic physician.
How long have you been a naturopathic doctor?
So I've been practicing for almost 30 years. I started out in 1988.
Where did you study, or what did you get your degrees?
So I studied naturopathic medicine at Bastyr University in Seattle, and my undergraduate work was in psychology from Hahnemann University in Philadelphia.
What courses do you wish, how did your undergraduate years prepare you for medical school?
They didn't very well, actually, because I was so focused on psychology. So I had to take 2 years before I went to grad school and do chemistry. Yeah, that was fun.
What courses do you wish you would have taken as an undergraduate student?
I wish I would have taken physics.
Physics?
Yeah, it fascinates me.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't like physics.
You don't like physics? Maybe I would have felt that way if I took a physics course, but I didn't, so it seems interesting to me. All the new physics, because it supports what I do, the homeopathic medicine part, because homeopathy is, it has a lot to do with physics, because it's an energy medicine rather than a physical medicine.
On a typical day, what do you do? How many patients do you see each day?
So I spend a lot of time with patients. So the first office visit is 3 hours. Sometimes it's even more. We have to reschedule for continuation, but definitely 3 hours. And the returns are about every 4 to 6 weeks, and then I'll see a person for an hour. So consequently, I don't see a lot of people during the day because I take so long with each person. So 5 maximum a day is enough of return patients. And 2 new patients is enough for me during one day. So because I'm holistic and I really get to know the person physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, everything. I mean, I'm not social with them, but I get to know about their social life and work life, and because I'm holistic and I get all that detail, and I do homeopathy, which is very detailed, that's why I spend so long with people. Really get to know somebody.
What type of patients do you work with? Which demographic is most likely to come into your office?
Well, you know, it really varies, and there's a huge variety of patients. I see babies, and I see elderly people, and everything in between. I'm like an old-time family doctor. And I see all kinds of problems, from, you know, colds or healthy checkups, or cancer, and everything in between.
Well, that just answered my next question. What types of medical conditions do you deal with most often in your specialty?
Because I don't specialize in an illness, because I'm holistic, I do see everything. I don't see emergencies. I wouldn't come to me if you want to, you know, be stitched up or you want to have a broken bone set. Wouldn't come to me, but for everything else.
So do your patients come to you for like checkups or physicals, things that they can get at like
not so much. It's more the things that they can't get answers to with their regular medical doctors. You know, digestive issues, skin issues, high blood pressure, diabetes, low energy, female problems, you know, menopause or PMS, or yeah, just a real wide variety of things that really need a holistic view and someone to look at the whole picture and also to try and understand the root cause. That's very much what I do, is I get to the root cause.
Um, how does the time used vary? Are there busy and slow times, or is the work activity fairly constant?
Um, it's fairly constant with ebbs and flows. It's both.
From your perspective, what are the problems you see working in this field?
Because naturopathic medicine is not the dominant medicine of this country, and I use that word dominant because Western medicine is the dominant medicine. And it hasn't become that because they're necessarily better. And that's a long history about why they're the dominant medicine of this country. But that being said, the problem is that the challenges for us are people just not knowing that this is an alternative or that this is a viable option for their problems. And so people don't know about us. And then also we're not licensed in every single state. We're only licensed in about 20-some states. So people have to pay up front. They have to be self-pay.
So it's not covered by insurance?
Insurance doesn't accept us.
Okay. How does the demanding nature of a naturopathic doctor's daily job function compare to that of other medical professions?
Well, I don't know because I've never been in any other medical profession, but I know that for me, it's very demanding. You know, like when you're spending that much time with someone in that focused way, and I'm very present with people, and I'm taking gobs of notes. Look at this chart. This is like, you know, I've been seeing her since October of 2012, okay? And I take copious notes, and I'm very present. When you do that, you know, all day, you really do need to make sure that you have good self-care. You take enough time off, and you do things that bring you joy, and you eat well, and you sleep well, and that manages it in any profession.
What personal attributes or characteristics are important to being successful as a doctor in this field?
Perseverance, compassion, the ability to not take anything personally. If someone doesn't get well, you need to know when to refer. Attention to detail and the whole picture. Ability to see both.
What part of being a naturopathic doctor do you find most satisfying?
When people come back and say, I really feel good. And because I love to help people resolve their physical issues so they can live life in a more fulfilled and meaningful way. And when they get to that place, and I love to do life coaching too, when they get to that place where they really feel like I'm on the right path and I quit my job or I divorced my spouse or whatever it is, if that's what was needed. When they come back and really feel good about themselves and good about their life, that's rewarding and that's fulfilling to me. Then I've done my job.
What do you find most challenging?
Most challenging. So I think it's most challenging when I see people, whether they're children or adults, who have very deep-seated illnesses. They're very difficult and challenging to deal with. Like for instance, just before you, I had a young man. He's 25, the same age as my son, and he's got severe autism, and he can't communicate, and it's very difficult. There's a lot going on there. But he's getting a little bit better.
That's good.
Yeah.
How did you decide to pursue this field?
You know, it's just one of these like divine synchronicities, if you know what I mean. You know, because I wanted to be a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did a little, since I was in the 8th grade. And then I started to pursue that. And in the psychology program, undergraduate program I was in, we had a piece to that was like an internship. And so I got to work in the field. And I became a little disillusioned. And so I thought, okay, well, I still love the world of psychology and how people are and why they think the way they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to just do psychology. I want something that's kind of more whole body. But I didn't have the name at the time. And then I happened to see the word holistic. And this is like 1970, you know, late 1970s. And I saw the word holistic. And then I just started to follow the breadcrumbs. Oh, that word holistic. Oh, there's a holistic course. I took the holistic course, and then I found out about naturopathic medicine from that course. And when I saw the description of naturopathic medicine, it was like one of these light bulb moments that, like, yes, I want to be this kind of doctor. And that's what I did.
Well, are there other careers you considered pursuing?
Not really. I mean, I'm expanding now my career. I want to work less in the practice, and I want to do more teaching and speaking and courses. I want to have courses about kind of like psychology. You know, it's a new body of work called Language of Being, and it very much has to do with health and well-being, but from the standpoint of how we think, our thinking. And so that is, I'm going to branch off into that, as well as continue to practice, but do mostly homeopathy and coaching, the Language of Being coaching. But never a radical different career change, no, never.
Is there anything you dislike about your job? If so, what?
Yeah, that financially, I only make money when I see someone.
Mm-hmm.
So I get just paid for the time that I see people. And that's very limiting in your income, you know? And so, you know, I can only see a certain amount of patients a day or a week. So, and you know, people have to pay up front or have to be self-pay, so I don't have, you know, I have a limited pool of people who could come see me who are willing to do that. So financially, I mean, it's okay, but I couldn't work more. You know what I mean? I'm not like this factory where, you know, I see a patient every 10 minutes, you know, like an MD. So because I spend so much time with people, so that's been challenging, and so that's part of what I'll work on when I expand out into the, you know, selling courses and then maybe writing a book and speaking, is that financially it makes more sense for me to do that because I'm getting tired. But I still love it. Did I answer that question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What types of continued education or training is available or required?
Well, because we're not in a licensed state, I don't have a license in this state, and so I'm not required to do continuing ed, but I do. You know, there's lots of courses online you can take as a naturopath. You can go to conferences, you can read books. So there's plenty that you can do. But when you are in a licensed state, you are required to do continuing ed.
Okay. How do you see naturopathic medicine changing in the future?
It's already changed from when I graduated. They're becoming more like mainstream, more like medical doctors.
So more people are becoming aware of it?
No, like our training is changing to be more accepted and acceptable to kind of Western medicine. It's changing. Like now naturopaths can prescribe drugs. I didn't learn how to prescribe drugs. You know, we were more old-time naturopathic medicine. So it's becoming more, wanting to become more scientific and mainstream. But more of us, though. I mean, so it's changing in that way that there's so many more naturopaths now, because the schools didn't survive at the turn of the century, like from the 1800s to the 1900s. There were about a quarter of medical doctors that were trained in natural medicine and homeopathy. But then that was squashed in the beginning of the 1900s, and there was only one naturopathic school that remained until the 1950s. And then in 1978, there was another school. And now there are like 5 schools. So there's many more of us, and many more states that are licensed, and so that's all very positive for our profession.
What advances do you think will be made in this field, and how will that impact your career or the way that you do your job?
Ask me that question again.
What advances do you think will be made in this field, and how will that impact your career or the way that you do your job?
Well, it's there. The graduates that are coming out now are practicing different than me. And I'm currently looking for an associate naturopathic physician to work, to be part of the practice. And so it's almost like they're a generation older than me, or younger than me. I'm a generation older than them. And so that impacts me in both, you know, good ways and ways that are more challenging, because they know different things than I know, and vice versa. I know things that they don't know. So I think that's true for the older naturopaths, and I think that's true for the profession in general, that it's changing. Like I said, it connects to being more mainstream. Yeah.
Is there a demand for doctors in this specialty? Why or why not?
There is definitely a demand. People are becoming increasingly dissatisfied with their medical doctors, that they don't spend enough time with them, that they just want to prescribe medications for them, they don't look at the underlying cause, or they're just not getting helped. And not all medical doctors, I'm not trashing the whole medical field at all, but more and more people are becoming more dissatisfied. Also, especially young families, you know, like people in their 20s and 30s having children, they're realizing that they don't really want to get on this antibiotic rabbit hole. And they're much more educated now, and so they'll see that there are alternatives, there are natural ways to deal with infections, and so they seek naturopathic medicine out because they know they kind of hit a wall at a certain point with treating their own children, because it can be hard treating your own children, and so that's when they seek a naturopathic physician. So there's definitely a demand. I think it's the movement of what people are wanting, and where people are getting, you know, real transformation and healing.
Will the demand for doctors in this specialty change? Why or why not? Like, do you think it'll start slowing down, or will it only
it'll
progress?
only keep increasing. There's more and more schools every year. You know, every few years there's a new school or a satellite school. So there's more and more naturopaths because there's more and more demand.
What advice would you have for any students interested in this field?
My advice would be make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and that you really love and embrace natural medicine and a natural perspective and live that, and then you'll be happy doing it and you'll be successful.
What is the greatest event you have experienced as a naturopathic doctor?
The greatest event?
Mhm.
I don't know if there was just one. Maybe the day I graduated.